to help you understand the region, the way it's broken down in its different countries, so that you can better understand what is being presented in this course. I'm using, of course, Google Earth, and here is Southern Africa, and the countries that we're going to deal with include South Africa, Lesotho, a little bit about Swaziland, now called Eswatini, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and of course Zambia and Malawi. Now, I have extensive knowledge of all of these countries. In fact, I can say that there are few roads in most of them that I've not driven. Let's start with the idea of self-drive. The trip we have just done has taken place, of course, in Namibia. Of course, Namibia is just one of many countries really very, very well suited to the self-drive safari. And you have to ask yourself, when choosing which country or countries that you want to visit, you have to think about, what do you want? What do you want to get out of your trip? So I'm going to be very simplistic in the following series of statements to help you in some way choose which country to come to first. I say first because, well, once you've come once, I can guarantee you, you will be back. That's a given. All right, Namibia is fantastic for landscapes, diverse, from the grey-green Atlantic and barren shores of the Skeleton Coast to the incredibly rich mountain deserts of the Kouakaland and Damaraland, to extraordinary landscapes throughout Namibia, the dunes, it's extraordinary when it comes to diverse landscapes. Big game, Namibia is not your best. Etosha is fantastic for big game. But apart from Etosha National Park, there's not a lot in Namibia that's going to dish up big game. Botswana, if you're looking for big game, Botswana is it. No question about it. The Chobe National Park, the Marimi Game Reserve, the Okavango Delta. In terms of game, unmatched in Africa. It is equal to Tanzania and Kenya when it comes to, in fact, I think it's better than those two, only because the experience is a little bit, there are not quite so many people. I'm generalizing. It is superb, as is Tanzania and Kenya for big game. Incredible beaches. Mozambique is magnificent. But Mozambique is a bit of a challenge for the adventurous traveller because it's got a bit of a reputation for quite a bad stuff happening. It's not a very stable country, politically unstable, but in terms of beaches, absolutely glorious. Mountains, you're looking for Lesotho mountains. Nothing else matches it. South Africa, mountains as well. The mountains of the Cape Province and the mountains of the Drakensberg in South Africa. Exquisite. I didn't mention South Africa when I was talking big game. Big game, South Africa is very good for big game, but the private game reserves, where the big game is fantastic, it's extremely expensive and not ideal for the self-drive. Kruger National Park on the far eastern side of South Africa, and for big game and for the self-drive traveller, fantastic. A lot of people, you're not going to be remote, quite commercialised, very good, wonderful experience. You'll enjoy Kruger National Park. And there are other national parks around South Africa too, in Natal, some in the Eastern Cape as well, for big game. But I wouldn't say South Africa is number one for big game. There are others that are better. South Africa, in terms of a place to visit, I personally would avoid Johannesburg like the plague. It's got nothing to offer. Cape Town is a wonderful city, absolutely beautiful, one of the most beautiful cities I've ever visited in the world, certainly up in the top 5. And in terms of other places in South Africa, well, it's a very diverse country. You have absolutely everything in South Africa. In terms of safety and that kind of thing, I wouldn't say that South Africa is safest place. In fact, I would say it's the least safe of all of Southern Africa's countries. Least safe to travel in terms of the crime is in some places is terrible. In most places in South Africa is terrible. So pick and choose your places carefully if you want to do South Africa. Does that help? I hope that helps. Have I missed out any? Zambia, magnificent country for big game and for the overlander. Brilliant. Absolutely outstanding. Zimbabwe, very, very good. Bit of a troubled place, a few problems still with roadblocks and a bit of corruption now and again. Not terrible, but it's a problem. Some places in Zimbabwe are still very, very good. What have I missed out any? I've got the map in my head and I'm just thinking, have I missed out any particular place? That'll give you something to chew on, something to start with anyway.